people who cut off their families, what finally made you walk away for good? I was 26 when I realized my mother had been stealing my identity since I was 14. It started with a phone call from a collection agency about a credit card I'd never opened. Then came the threatening letters, 6 accounts, $43,000 in debt, all in my name. I mean, when I confronted her, she didn't deny it. She just stared at me across our kitchen table, the same table where she taught me to write my name in kindergarten. I needed it for us, she said, lighting a cigarette, even though she knew I had asthma. For this house? For your college? You think all that was free? Honestly, I'd worked 2 jobs through college, thinking my scholarships weren't enough. Meanwhile, she'd been vacationing in Cancun on credit cards with my name on them. That night, I pulled my complete credit report. The devastation was worse than I imagined. My credit score was 417. There were 3 payday loans, a repossessed car, and a foreclosed vacation property in Florida I'd never even heard of. Each item had my forged signature, a signature I'd watched her practice on napkins for years, thinking it was just her obsessive perfectionism. And this is the part that really hurt. It wasn't the debt. It was finding evidence of the double life she built with my identity. Designer clothes, jewelry store accounts, a country club membership where she told them I was her successful entrepreneur daughter who was always traveling. So yeah, my entire adult struggle had funded her fantasy life. I gathered everything and drove to the police station. The officer looked bored as I laid out my documents. Family fraud is complicated, he said. Most victims don't follow through with prosecution. I just looked at him and said, I'm not most victims. 3 days later, I sat across from a detective. To file charges, I need to formally declare I was not a willing participant. My mother would face felony charges. Prison time was likely. Are you sure you want to do this? The detective asked. Once we start, there's no turning back. For a second, I hesitated. I thought about my childhood. Mom was a single parent who worked night shifts. She'd leave me dinners with little notes. Study hard, reach for the stars. I believed we were a team, struggling together. Then my phone buzzed. A text from her. I've always sacrificed everything for you. If you do this, you're dead to me. I stared at those words for a long time. My entire life I've been taught that family loyalty came before everything. Before truth, before self-respect, before justice. I looked up at the detective and slid my phone across the desk so he could read her message. That, I said, pointing to the screen, is why I'm sure. The arrest happened on a Tuesday. I wasn't there, but neighbors called to tell me. They described her screaming my name as they put her in the cruiser, yelling that I was ungrateful, that I had betrayed her after everything she'd done. That night, my father, who left when I was 3, called. You don't turn on family, no matter what. Where were you, I asked, when she was destroying my life? The line went dead. Then my aunt showed up at my apartment, pounding on the door until neighbors threatened to call security. She has cancer, she screamed through the door. Did you know she needed that money for treatments? I didn't answer. Later, I called her doctor. There was no cancer. Never had been. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for Thursday. As I walked into the courthouse, my phone flooded with messages from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. Cousins calling me heartless, uncles asking what kind of person prosecutes their own mother. My grandmother, who I thought was dead, left a voicemail saying I'd never been worthy of the family name. I sat alone on a wooden bench waiting to be called in to testify. That's when I saw him, across the hall, my older brother, Michael, who disappeared 10 years ago after a massive fight with Mom. He looked different, healthier, steadier. He sat beside me without saying a word. How did you know? I asked. I've been monitoring public records with your name, he said quietly. I've been waiting for this day for years. I turned to him, completely confused. What do you mean? He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo, a credit card application from 12 years ago, my name on it. I would have been 14, I said. You weren't the first, he replied, and if you don't finish this, you won't be the last. Before I could respond, the bailiff called my name. As I stood up to enter the courtroom, Michael grabbed my wrist. There's something else you need to know, he whispered. Something much worse than credit fraud. I couldn't fit what happens next into this short video. Watch the rest down below.